From two minimum wage petitions to the Barrio Logan Community Plan to convention center funding and possibly an infrastructure bond, there seems to be a lot of signature gathering campaigns underway in San Diego right now, and that could cost taxpayers money. Here to help explain how the process works and the options for getting a new law on the books is my guest, Mesa College professor, political science professor Carl Luna. Carl, welcome back.
Good to be here.
Now, just this week, Open Government Advocates started the process to require voter approval of overrun cost on the San Diego Convention Center. What is the process of getting something like this on the ballot? It's already been approved, and now we're going to go back.
Well, the process is usually you get a lot of money, and then you get more money, and then more money with that, and then you try to hire people to gather signatures, and then you qualify it for the ballot. Now, with a citizens group like this, they're probably going to try to do it the old-fashioned way, where you get friends and concerned people to stand outside of Trader Joe's, Ralph's, and get signatures. But you got to get bodies to collect a certain number of signatures. This is in the tens of thousands, and then it qualifies for the ballot.
Is it too late, do you think, to get this on the ballot for November?
I don't think for this one with the convention center they're trying for November. I think they're looking at maybe getting on the following June, or I guess because it's 2015, you might have to wait for a special election or 2016 to qualify.
I see. Well, as we saw with the Barrio Logan petition drive, the courts got involved. So how much does it typically cost to get a measure on the ballot? Is there a general number? And are there extra costs with delays when it goes from a decision that's already been made to being challenged in the courts?
No, it's independent. You had the city council vote on the Barrio Logan plan, then another group went out and paid money to get the petition signatures. That's the first part of it. Once it's on the ballot, then it's just the expense of running an election, printing up the ink, and conducting the process. It depends on how many signatures you need, and then you factor it by how much you really want to get them. There are businesses that charge you 50 cents to $5 a signature. The more you pay, the easier it is to raise the signatures.
Well, let's talk about that. I know with the Barrio Logan petition, a lot of people believe that the signature gatherers weren't completely honest with the people in gathering those signatures.
Who could believe it? Dishonesty in politics.
Yeah, amazing.
I am shocked.
Should signature gatherers be paid, do you think? Or should there be an oversight committee or something if they are paid?
Well, free speech, free market, caveat emptor, pay your money, takes your chances, I'm afraid. When Petco Park was approved by the voters, there was a challenge to that petition process because, well, to the city council's actions, because the allegation was that the mayor and the city council said things that weren't particularly true about how the bond would work for Petco. Court said, nope, that's still it qualified and made it to the ballot, the voters voted. With the case with Barrio Logan, the same thing's happened in the judicial process. So don't expect oversight of signature gatherers, free market, free speech.
Okay. A few minutes ago, I talked about a second competing ballot measure for raising the minimum wage in San Diego. How much of an impact, or does it have an impact, let's say a second ballot measure on the same issue have in diluting voter, I guess, whether they'd approve a measure?
Well, sometimes when you have competing ballot initiatives, it's because two different groups have good intentions, but they have different ideas, and they're not trying to steal from each other, but they do. Sometimes it's a deliberate strategy. If we have two measures and it splits the vote, rather than people voting for both, they vote for one or the other, and if neither clear the 50% hurdle, then they both die. And if you've got two competing measures that pass, whichever one gets the most votes, its language takes precedence over the other one.
How do you respond to critics who say, listen, the government should be able to manage the city without having to put everything on the ballot every time somebody's disgruntled with their opinion? Isn't that why they're elected? How would you respond to that comment?
Well, I mean, that could be some fairness to it in that we elect elected officials to make decisions, but we also don't like their decisions. We want A-class service. We want to pay prices for it. So the city council has had to cheat us because we wanted them to on things like bonds, on roads, on basic infrastructure. Then they have to figure out a way to finance it, and the voters don't want to have to pay for it. With the convention center, people don't like the convention center, they want the money that brings in. They didn't want to have to pay an extra tax, even if it was coming through the hotels, so you let the hoteliers raise it. You get the government you ask for, unfortunately, in a democracy, and this is what we've asked for.
So with these unexpected bond measures, let's say, like going back on the infrastructure bond, it was approved by the city council, it was approved by the mayor, and now it's going to court to see if it should go to the voters. Do these unexpected bond measures actually cost the city or taxpayers money, or are we set up to handle it?
Well, if nobody says boo about it, then you simply pass it through. The city did this through a financial structure it has, and their argument was because you did it as the city council, not actually acting as the city council, didn't have to go to the voters. The reality is, since we haven't put the money into roads for the last 10, 15 years, you're scrambling for money. The voters aren't going to approve the bond, even though they probably should, so they tried to circumvent that. If a friendly judge, it's cheaper to go to a court than it is to actually have to go to the voters in the first place.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Professor Carl Luna, thanks so much.
Thank you.